into, and that happened on the walk.
July of this year, Epstein was arrested on charges.
Wait, hold on. So this guy, who is a prince, by the way, couldn't pay for a hotel that's nearby. He couldn't have met up and organized that walk in the park from his hotel. He had to go stay at his house.
Of sex trafficking and abusing.
Or maybe he could have just called from the beginning. He could have just called from the beginning. I'm confused. He could have just called instead of even going there in the first place. This could have been an email, Andrew.
And that happened on the walk.
July of this year, Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and abusing dozens of underage girls. One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None.
You see how he didn't deny it, y'all? He didn't deny it. He said, I have no recollection. I don't recall. That's what he's saying. I don't recall. But look at his face when she's making these accusations.
These are the reasons why I'm not going to. And that happened on the walk.
July of this year, Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and abusing dozens of underage girls. One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No.
She says she met you in 2001. She dined with you. She danced with you. You bought her drinks. You were in Tramp nightclub in London. And she went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Didn't happen.
Do you remember her?
No. I've no...
Mind you, hold on. This is her. There's a photo of them together. This is her, right? I'm pretty sure this was her. But he has no recollection. No recollection. She looks like a teen. She literally looks like a teen. Look at her. She looks very young. And I'm pretty sure she was under 18. And at this point. This was the girl who was homeless, by the way. Remember, I read her report. I read her her interview. She was 16 here. This was the girl who said that she was homeless and she was picked up and she basically was abused and all those different things. This is that girl, the 16-year-old girl who we wrote. AJ بتجاخا تأشمو نشتي تشيل قبر. Please. This was the girl. Right? Let's continue though.
Recollection of ever meeting her. I'm almost, in fact, I'm convinced that I was never in trance with her. There are a number of things that are wrong with that story. One of which is that I don't know where the bar is in trance. I don't drink. I don't think I've ever bought a drink in trance whenever I was there.
Do you remember dancing at Tramp?
By the way, Virginia is not alive anymore. Virginia is not alive anymore. Last year, literally, she was, quote unquote, self-unalived herself, right? She self-unalived, quote unquote. But we don't know if she was unalived or she's self-unalived. We don't know that. But she's not alive anymore.
No. That.
Do you remember dancing at Tramp?
No. That couldn't have happened because the date that is being suggested, I was at home with the children.
You know that you were at home with the children. Was it a memorable night?
On that particular day that we now understand that is the date, which is the 10th of March, I was at home. I was with the children. I'd taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking for a party at I suppose sort of 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And then because the Duchess was away, we have a simple rule in the family that when one's away, the other one's there. I was on terminal leave at the time from the Royal Navy, so therefore I was at home.
Why would you remember that so specifically? Why would you remember a Pizza Express birthday and being at home?
Because,
By the way, this is another example of lying. When a person is lying, they get extra detailed of the mundane things that is not important.
going to
The Duchess is Sarah Ferguson, which I don't necessarily think Sarah Ferguson is also innocent because she was also mentioned in one of the girls' journals. The one of the girls, the journal that we read from the girl, Sarah is mentioned there. That she wasn't nice or something like that, right? So Sarah knew of the girls because she was present at one of the Epstein parties.
Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do.
And also, of course, you're going to know if your husband is cheating on you. Especially with the royals, like they all knew that they were cheating on each other, but they were okay with it. Like at some point you find out. At some point, even if your significant other hides it from you, but at some point you do end up finding out when you see when he is traveling all the damn time to these parties, to the US, to all these different places. Where is he going? Of course you're gonna kind of understand that he's probably cheating on you.
When one's away, the other one's there. I was on terminal leave at the time from the Royal Navy, so therefore I was at home.
Why would you remember that so specifically? Why would you remember a Pizza Express birthday and being at home?
Because going to Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do. A very unusual thing for me to do.
So it's a very unusual thing to do, but you conveniently, on the day, that is your alibi. That you went to this thing and you did this thing that you don't usually do. Make that make sense. And also, him using the word pizza is very interesting because we know that pizza means code for little girl. So him even using pizza as like his alibi is so interesting because literally pizza means girl. That's a code word. Right? These are the code words. Some of these code words appear on like in the Epstein files, by the way. So these are the code words that a lot of those people used, the 3DOs used to get away with this shit. The same way they use, remember we cracked the code massage? They were saying, we're getting a massage, I'm booking a massage for you, but massage literally meant like sex with a minor. Pizza literally means girl. So the fact that he's saying he went to buy pizza and that's why he wasn't with a girl is very interesting.
Express birthday and being at home.
Alleged. By the way, all of this is alleged. I'm a very happy person. Okay? I'm very, very happy. I want to live. I want to continue living. Just wanted to say that.
Going to Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do. a very unusual thing for me to do. I've only been through Woking a couple of times, and I remember it weirdly distinctly. But as soon as somebody reminded me of it, I went, oh yes, I remember that.
So,
and I have no recollection of ever meeting or being in the company or the presence.
so you're absolutely sure that you're at home on the 10th of March?
Yeah.
He doesn't have the recollection of being in the presence of her, yet he has a photo with her. I'm going to continue bringing this up again to show how much he is lying. Just wanted to say that. To show how much he is lying.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at, and I simply it was almost impossible for me to sweat, and it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past.
So he said it is impossible for him to sweat because of the Falklands War. Now imagine if we somehow had footage of an interview of him talking about the Falklands War right after it happened, talking about him sweating. That would have been really, really fascinating, wouldn't it? That would have been really interesting if we somehow had this footage. Right? And that's precisely why your girl Athena is here. Covey. Right? Athena, me. That's why your girl is here. Because we do, in fact, have that footage of him talking after the Falklands War. And let's see what he says from his mouth, okay?
Again, that's how hot and sweaty it was there. We picked up my luggage, said goodbye to the Queen, who was out riding, and I just said, we've been sailed and I've got to go. She said, well, call us when you're coming back. And set off for Portsmouth. All we were told to do was that if we saw a missile coming towards us, then we were to climb and let it go underneath us. I remember looking out over my right side going, I'm not going to say anything about this, but I could see that coming towards me because I don't want to worry them. I suppose that was the one moment when I've got my lifetime's worth of adrenaline rush there. And it gave me a nasty little white fleck in the side of which only when I cut my hair can you see it. That's the ship's positions. From the 3rd to the 9th of May, there's the Falklands and there's Argentina. The only way I could describe it is that if you've perhaps made a rather more risky overtake in a car than you would sometimes wish, and you get that sort of hot flush, well, double that, add 10, and then do it again. That's how hot and sweaty it became inside my immersion suit at that particular moment.
That's how hot and sweaty it got in my suit. That's what he said. I thought he said he couldn't sweat. Let's repeat that again.
It became inside my immersion suit at that particular moment.
You must have thought at some moments, God, I wonder if I'm actually going to come.
Now let's go to another part. Hold on. Oh, sorry, my bad. Ad. I'm not advertising anything for anybody for free without getting sponsored, But hold on. Let's hear this other part, okay? Let's hear what he says here.
And it's been there ever since then. But
Did you have time to be frightened at that particular incident, or did it just happen so fast? You just
No, it just happened. I mean, it was. You know, there was a. I mean, the only way I can describe it is that if you've perhaps made a rather more risky overtake in a car than you would sometimes wish, and you get that sort of hot flush. Well, double that, add 10, and then do it again. That's how hot and sweaty it became inside my immersion suit at that particular moment. But having got away, that was the sort of feeling I had. That was the sort of, you know, my God, that was a bit risky.
He mentions it twice. Twice in the interview. Once at minute 1 and the second time at minute 19 and 9 seconds. Let's hear him again talk about the Falkland Wars as if his interviews from back then weren't there. Okay?
The sweating, because as soon as somebody reminded me of it, I went, oh yes, I remember that.
So,
I have no recollection of ever meeting or being in the company or the presence.
so you're absolutely sure that you're at home on the 10th of March.
Yeah.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you
No.
and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at. And I simply, it was almost impossible for me to sweat. And it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I'm starting to be able to do that again. So I'm afraid to say that there's a medical condition that says that I didn't do it, so therefore.
Is it possible that you met Virginia Roberts, dined with her, danced with her in Tramp, had sex with her on another date?
No.
Do you remember meeting her at all?
No.
Do you know you didn't meet her, or do you just not remember meeting her?
No, I don't know if I've met her, but no, I have no recollection of meeting her.
Because she was very specific. She described the dance that you had together in Tramp. She described meeting you. She was a 17-year-old girl meeting a senior member of the royal family.
Never happened.
She provided a photo of the two of you together. Your arm was around her waist.
Yes.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph.
How do you explain that?
I can't.
Okay, let's go back a bit. He started off by saying, I've never met this person. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't recall anything. To now saying, oh yeah, I have in fact actually seen the photo. Let's see what his explanation is. By the way, whoever suggested that he do this interview hates him. I just wanted to say, they definitely hate him. They most definitely hate this man. Whoever suggested that.
Never happened.
She provided a photo of the two of you together.
Yes.
Your arm was around her waist.
Yes.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph.
How do you explain that?
I can't. Because I have absolutely no memory of that photograph ever being taken.
Do you recognise yourself in the photo?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult not to recognise yourself.
Your friend suggested that the photo is fake.
Oh my God. So now he said he recognized himself, legitimizing the authenticity of the photo. And then she whammed him with the, but your friend said it was fake. So that means your friend is lying. It's not an out, by the way. This is discrediting his friends. She is discrediting his friends by saying, who's the one lying here? Is it you or your friend? beautiful reporter.
Not to recognise yourself.
Your friend suggested that the photo is fake.
I think it's from the investigations that we've done, you can't prove whether or not that photograph is faked or not, because it is a photograph of a photograph of a photograph. So it's very difficult to be able to prove it. But I don't remember that photograph ever being taken.
But it's possible that it was you with your arm around
That's
her
me, but whether that's my hand or whether that's the position.
Oh, wait, so the P3DOs investigated themselves? Is that what he's trying to say? We investigated ourselves, and we found ourselves innocent.
I have simply no recollection of a photograph ever being taken.
The world has now seen the photo that Virginia Roberts provided, taken by Epstein, we understand, in Ghislaine Maxwell's house.
Well, here's the problem. I've never seen Epstein with a camera in my life.
Oh my God! Now he's saying he's never seen Epstein with a camera. Oh my God! Mind you, this is why it's so frustrating. Hold on. This is why it's so frustrating how much they get away with this shit. Look at this. This is from a diary of one of the victims. Okay? This is a diary of one of the victims. She says, "Thank God my parents picked me up. For being a Rockefeller, that plane Mr. Dana had me on was scary. Both he and Larry Summers are fucking disgusting. Hope no relation to Tracy. I guess it's a royal thing, gross. Andrew is like his brother in this way. Redacted should not brag because that was yucky. Does this lady know you can't have dignity if you've been with him? I know I have none, only Skittles." She's talking about Andrew in one of her diaries. This is why it's so frustrating, right? That this guy is just sitting here nonchalantly just lying about this. And we have all the proof to know that he's lying. But this is the issue. This is what billionaires get away with. And we are surprised that these billionaires fund genocides. Why are we surprised? They don't even care about their own people. They literally don't care about the people of their own country. They're actively trafficking them. What makes you think that they're going to care? They're talking about Charles, by the way, because Charles himself is also a groomer. Because Charles was 32 when he actively met Diana, who was like 16, 17, right? So Charles himself is also a groomer. So that's why she was saying he's like his brother. Allegedly, by the way. But yes.
I think it was Virginia Roberts' camera. She said a little Kodak one that she lent to Epstein. He took a photo and your arm is round her waist.
I don't remember that photograph ever being taken. I don't remember going upstairs in the house, because that photograph is taken upstairs. And I'm not entirely convinced that, I mean, that is what I would describe as me in that picture, but we can't be certain as to whether or not that's my hand on her, whatever it is.
I'm so sorry. He just said, he said we can't be sure that that's my hand. Whose hand is that? Hold on. Let me get a bigger photo. Maybe this will be a bigger photo. Whose hand is that? Wait, how do I zoom in on this? Is this better? Hold on. Wait, what the hell? Why can't I save this? Hold on. We got this, y'all. hell? Okay, wait, hold on. Let me paste this here. Whose hand is that, sir? Whose hand is this? There's literally nobody else around. There's literally nobody else around. Whose hand is this? It's literally as red as his other hand. Is this like an Addams Family hand, just like a floating hand on its own? Is that what he's trying to say? Because whose hand is this? Jelaine is like so far away. What is this hand here? How is he saying he's not sure that it's his hand? It can't be her hand because her hand is here. That's her hand. Her hand is literally right here. What are you talking about? That is not her hand. That's his hand. This guy is maybe I should do like a compilation video, by the way, of like just his lies. Maybe like his lies, you know?
In the house, because that photograph is taken upstairs. And I'm not entirely convinced that, I mean, that is what I would describe as me in that picture, but we can't be certain as to whether or not that's my hand on her, whatever it is, left side.
You think that...
Because I have no recollection of that photograph ever being taken.
So why would somebody have put in another hand? You think it is you next to her in the photo?
Oh, it's definitely me. I mean, that's a picture of me. It's not a picture of... I don't believe it's a picture of me in London, because when I go out in London, I wear a suit and a tie.
Thank you, everybody, for the gifts. I genuinely appreciate y'all, by the way. Thank you for the support, because it does take a lot of labor to go through this, emotional and mental labor as well. So thank you so much for the support. Just wanted to say that. So continue liking. Oh my God, thank you guys for the gift, genuinely.
That's what I would describe as those are my traveling clothes if I'm going overseas. So I've got plenty of photographs of me dressed in...
Hold on. So he said he has no recollection ever taking this photo, but he knows where the photo was taken. How does he know where the photo was taken if he has no recollection? Can somebody explain that to me? Can somebody explain that to me? Thank you guys very much. How can somebody say they have no recollection, but then they turn around and say, oh yeah, actually, that photo was taken upstairs and it was not taken in London. It was taken this and there. How do you know? I thought you don't remember it.
In those sorts of, sort of kit, but not there.
Just to clarify, so you think that photo has been faked?
Nobody can prove whether or not that photograph has been doctored, but I don't recollect that photograph ever being taken.
Wait, no, you can though. You can investigate if a photo has been doctored. There are literal experts who do that. There are experts who can investigate and verify the authenticity of footage and photos. Why is he lying? You know she doesn't believe his shit, because look at her face. Her face is also like, you're a fucking liar, bro.
And you don't recollect having your hand round her waist in Ghislaine Maxwell's house on any occasion, even if it was a different date?
I'm sorry, but if I, as a member of the royal family, and I have a photograph taken and I take very, very few photographs, I am not one to...
He takes very few photographs, but he sure does take this. He takes very few photographs, but he sure does take these. You take very few photographs, but every time you get photographed, you're with a minor? Make that make sense. How are you with a minor every time you take photos? That is literally Andrew with a minor taking photos. That's him. Now, is he gonna say that's not his hand? Why is she on the floor? She looks like she has been like substance induced. And that's why she's on the floor, right? She looks like she's passed out. Yeah, that's what she looks like. Unconscious. He is literally on top of like an unconscious child and taking these photos. But he doesn't take photos, right?
And I take very, very few photographs. I am not one to, as it were, hug, and public displays of affection are not something that I do. So that's the best explanation I can give you. And I'm afraid to say that I don't believe that photograph was taken in the way that has been suggested.
In what way was it taken then? He said, I don't believe the photograph was taken in the way that it was suggested. In what way was it taken then? Like, what other way is there? Yeah, his best defense is, I don't sweat, I don't dance, I don't drink, and I don't hugs. Like, those are his best defenses.
Why would people not believe that you were there?
I'm sorry, why would...
I'm just trying to understand. There's a photo inside Ghislaine Maxwell's house. Ghislaine herself is in the background. Why would people not believe that you were there with her that night?
They might well wish to believe it, but the photograph is taken upstairs, and I don't think I ever went upstairs in Ghislaine's house.
You're sure of that?
Yeah, because the dining room and everything was on the ground floor. Was as you came in the hall. So I don't remember ever going up there. I'm at a loss to explain this particular photograph. If the original was ever produced, then perhaps we might be able to solve it. But I can't.
You can say categorically that you don't recall meeting Virginia Roberts, dining with her,
Yep.
dancing with her at Tramp,
Yep.
or going on to have sex with her
Yes.
in a bedroom in a house in Belgravia.
I can absolutely categorically tell you it never happened.
Do you recall any kind of sexual contact with Virginia Roberts then
None.
or any other time?
None whatsoever.
Because she said in a legal deposition, a legal court document in 2015, she had sex with you 3 times. She is not confused about this. She said the first was in London when she was trafficked to you. The second was at Epstein's mansion in New York.
That is a date in April, I believe. Is that correct?
She said it was a month or so later.
Yeah.
How did he know it was in April? How did this man know it was in April? I am confusion. If he doesn't recall meeting her, how did he know it was in April?
Well, I think that the date that we have for that shows that I was in Boston, or I was in New York the previous day, and I was at a dinner for the Outward Bound Trust in New York, and then I flew up to Boston the following day. And then on the day that she says that this occurred, they'd already left to go to the island before I got back from Boston. So I don't think that could have happened at all.
There was a witness there, Johanna Stolberg, who says that you did visit the house in that month.
I probably did. I don't think. On one of the weird things, I was staying with because of what I was doing. I was staying with the Consul General, which is further down the street on Fifth. So I wasn't staying there. I may have visited, but no, definitely didn't.
How is he visiting? I'm so sorry. Why is he visiting a P3DO so often? I'm so confused. If you're not a P3DO, why are you... It's like, you know, when they say 10 people are sitting on, like, at a table, 9 of them are Yahtzees, 10 of them are Yahtzees, because why are you sitting at a table with a Yahtzee? Why are you sitting at a table with a P3DO? If you know that your friend is a P3DO or a rapist and you still stay with them, what does that say about you? Oh, what does that say about you? Why are you friends with a rapist? It's because, again, my father used to always tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. That's what my dad always used to tell me. My dad always used to tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. If all of your friends are P3DOs, plot twist, you most likely are a P3DO yourself.
Because in a legal deposition, 2015, she said she had sex with you 3 times. Once in a London house when she was trafficked to you in Maxwell's house.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. What did she say? Oh, a legal deposition in 2015.
Once in a London house when she was trafficked to you in Maxwell's house.
Yes.
Once in New York, a month or so later at Epstein's mansion, and once on his private island in a group of 7 or 8 other girls.
Oh my God.
No.
No to all of it.
All of it. Absolutely no to all of it.
Why would she be saying those things?
We wonder exactly the same, but I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea.
She made these claims in a US deposition.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying you don't believe her? She's lying.
That's a very difficult thing to answer because I'm not in a position to know what she's trying to achieve, but I can tell you categorically, I don't remember meeting her at all. I do not remember a photograph being taken, and I've said consistently and frequently that we never had any sort of sexual contact whatever.
She spoke about...
I'm sorry, do you know what this is giving? I did not have sexual relations with that woman. This is what it's reminding me of. Remember that one Bill Clinton video when he's talking about Monica Lewinsky? That is what it's reminding me of. That is literally what it's reminding me of, bro. They sound the fucking same. And it's to no surprise that Bill Clinton is also in the files. It's not a surprise that Bill Clinton is also in the files because this literally sounds like him. Same type of PR technique, like you know, talking points.
About you outside the court in August of this year.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I quote, "He knows exactly what he's done and I hope he comes clean about it."
And the answer is nothing.
So if Virginia Roberts is watching this interview, what is your message to her?
I don't have a message for her because I have to have a thick skin. If somebody's going to make those sorts of allegations, then I've just got to have a thick skin and get on with it. But they never happened.
For the record, is there any way you could have had sex with that young woman or any young woman trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein in any of his residences?
No. And without putting too fine a point on it, if you're a man, it is a positive act to have sex with somebody. You have to take some sort of positive action. And so therefore, if you try to forget, it's very difficult to try and forget positive action. And I do not remember anything. I've racked my brain and thinking, oh, well, when the allegations came out originally, I went, well, that's a bit strange. I don't remember this. And then I've been through it and through it and through it over and over and over again. And no, nothing. Never happened.
Epstein's housekeeper, also in a Florida court legal deposition, said that you visited the Palm Beach residence around 4 times a year. You got a daily massage.
4 times a year?
That was what he said in a Florida court legal deposition.
No.
I'm just wondering, when you look back now, is there a chance that those massages might have been the services of someone?
So he visited Epstein 4 times a year to get massages. People in the UK, y'all don't have massage parlors there? I'm so sorry. People in the UK, y'all don't have massage parlors? Parlors? I'm confused. Why does he need to go all the way to America to get a massage when he could just easily get that in the UK? Well, not with adolescents, of course. I'm saying that, but I'm saying like normal massages. Like you could get a massage. I lived briefly in the UK, specifically in a city called Sheffield, by the way. Pretty sure people could get a massage there. They went all the way to the US, crossed the pond again to get a massage. 4 times a year.
Very difficult to try and forget positive action. And I do not remember anything. I've racked my brain and thinking, came out originally. I went, well, that's a bit strange. I don't remember this. And then I've been through it and through it and through it over and over and over again. And no, nothing.
Hi.
Oh my God. By the way, yes, I did actually live in Sheffield, in an area called Kelham Island. That's where I lived for like a year or so. Kelham Island. It was very nice, not gonna lie. But yeah, definitely massage parlors, you know? Definitely fucking lying, this guy. Definitely lying.
Epstein's housekeeper, also in a Florida court legal deposition, said that you visited the Palm Beach residence around 4 times a year. You got a daily massage.
4 times a year?
That was what he said in a Florida court legal deposition.
No.
I'm just wondering, when you look back now, is there a chance that those massages might have been the services of someone who was being sexually exploited or trafficked by Epstein?
No. I don't think, no, definitely not. Definitely not. And I definitely did not visit his Palm Beach house 3 or 4 times a year. Absolutely not.
How many times would you say you visited?
In total, probably 4 times in total throughout the time that I knew him.
So you mean to tell me, didn't he initially say he visited him 3 times a year in the beginning of the interview? Why is he contradicting himself? In the beginning of the interview, he said, oh yeah, 2 times, 3 times a year, maximum 4 times a year. And now he's saying in like the decades that he knew him, he only saw him 4 times. But then in 2010 alone, he saw him twice. Once to quote unquote break up with him, and the other for the 8 people dinner party. So you need to tell me that the 2 times were there, and then the other 2 was in the couple of decades? What a fucking liar.
In fact, probably that was the place that if you see what I mean, he was in the house more there than in other places that I was.
So that's where you'd find him.
I called it a breakup because he said he wanted to go visit him and take a walk in the park to tell him that he doesn't want to see him anymore and doesn't want to be seen in public with him anymore. That's why I called it a breakup, by the way.
But it was usually because I was going was going through and on somewhere else. So it was a day. That was it.
You said in your statement from the palace, at no time did I see, witness, or suspect any suspicious behaviour. Virginia Roberts' legal team says you could not spend time around Epstein and not know what was going on. You could not spend time around Epstein and not know what was going on.
Exactly.
If you are somebody like me, then people behave in a subtly different way. You wouldn't, first of all, I'm not looking for it. That's the thing. You see, if you're looking for it, then you might have suspected now, with the benefit of a huge amount of hindsight and a huge amount of analysis, you look back and you go, well, was that really the way that it was, or was I looking at it the wrong way? But you don't go into these places, you don't go to stay with people looking for that.
You could not spend time around him. That was what they said. You could not spend time around him and not know.
Look, the other aspect of this is that I live in an institution at Buckingham Palace which has members of staff walking around all the time.
Oh, motherfucker. Wow. Oh my God, this guy is a piece of shit. I can't. This guy is such a piece of shit. I'm so sorry. Do you have children as staff, sir, at Buckingham Palace? Are the children your staff? That would be child labor.
And I don't wish to appear grand, but there were a lot of people who were walking around Jeffrey Epstein's house. As far as I was aware, they were staff. They were people that were working for him or doing things. I interacted with them, if you were ordering to say good morning, good afternoon, but I didn't, if you see what I mean, interact with them in a way that was, what are you doing here? Why are you here? What's going on?
But you'd notice if there were hundreds of underage.
Hold on. I just want to show you how much of a liar this guy is, okay? This is a video, hold on, of Jeffrey Epstein's kitchen, okay? I showed this yesterday. Hold on. Look at this. Jeffrey Epstein used to nonchalantly chase girls in his kitchen. You see the black boxes? Those are minors. Yeah. So you mean to tell me this guy used to chase down women, not women, girls? And he didn't notice them? He didn't notice them? You mean to tell me that he didn't notice them? This is how just common it was, by the way. Just random girls in his house, young girls. And you need to tell me that he didn't notice them?
You just say good morning, good afternoon, his house. I live in an institution at Buckingham Palace which has members of staff walking around all the time. And I don't wish to appear grand, but there were a lot of people who were walking around Jeffrey Epstein's house. As far as I was aware, they were staff. They were people that were working for him or doing things. I, as it were, I interacted with them, if you were ordering to say good morning, good afternoon, but I didn't, if you see what I mean, interact with them in a way that was, what are you doing here? Why are you here? What's going on?
But you'd notice if there were hundreds of underage girls in Buckingham Palace, wouldn't you?
But you would notice if there were hundreds of underage girls in Jeffrey's house. Wasn't there? Not when I was there. Now, he may have changed his behaviour patterns in order for that not to be obvious to me. So I don't know. I mean, this is, you're asking me to speculate on things that I just don't know about.
You seem utterly convinced you're telling the truth. Would you be willing to testify or give a statement under oath if you were asked?
Well, I'm like everybody else, and I would have to take all the legal advice that there was before I was to do that sort of thing. But if push came to shove and the legal advice was to do so, then I would be duty-bound to do so.
Because you've said there are many unanswered questions,
Yeah.
Everyone affected wants closure. You would help to provide that closure?
If in the right circumstances, yes, I would, because I think there's just as much closure for me as there is for everybody else.
Oh my God, closure for me. What are you going to get closure for? You're a P3DO. What are you going to get closure for? You literally raped minors.
And undoubtedly, some very strange and unpleasant activities have been going on. I'm afraid to say that I'm not the person who can shed light on it for a number of reasons. One of which is that I wasn't there long enough. If you go in for a day, 2 days at a time, it's quite easy, I'm led to believe, for those sorts of people to hide their activities for that period of time and then carry on when you're not there.
Virginia Roberts' lawyers, legal team, say that they've asked for a legal statement from you. There is an active FBI investigation now. Would you be willing to provide that?
Again, I'm bound by what my legal advisors tell me.
Epstein was found dead.
Yep.
In prison.
Yes.
In August of this year.
Yep.
By the way, hold on, let me... why are there so many ads towards the end of the... She said Epstein was found dead, right? Were y'all here when we dissected the messages that were sent to Epstein's brother? Were y'all here when we dissected the messages to the brother? There are a lot of no's. Okay. I can do that then. Hold on. Let me briefly do that to you guys. It's fascinating that the DOJ asks me if I'm 18 years or older when the victims in these files are not even over 18. So these were emails that were sent to his brother, okay? Mark Epstein, whose nickname is Puggy. Hold on. Was this the email? Which one is the email? Here. Okay? So, yes, he has a brother. So his email is... Hey, Puggy. So this email was sent to Mark Epstein from an email called Puggy Unaliver. Puggy Unaliver is the name of the email. Okay? This email says you have two choices. Tell the court you partnered with your brother or we kill your family like your brother. And then it says, Puggy doesn't, his brother doesn't answer. No. There is new things. Sorry, but people were asking me basically. There were some people in the chat who didn't read the emails. This is only one email, by the way. Everything else is new. And then he says, "Hey, Puggy, my boss is a very kind person. He loved your brother. Your brother's mistake was that he wanted to tell the court everything. The boss wants to meet you. He just wants to see if you know him or not. What's the boss's name?" Then he says, "If you don't answer, the boss will be very upset. You don't know my boss. It's true." Who's the boss in this case? Then he says, this is an anonymous person sending it to Epstein's brother. Then he says, "You don't know our boss's name? I'm sure if you knew him, tell us. He wants to meet you. Just because you don't answer doesn't mean you don't know your brother's killers." And it sounds like a person who's not a native speaker in English wrote them, by the way. "Your brother's killers. It's true. You know that if you tell the police something, we will kill your children." Then he says, "Hey, bitch, don't you want to answer? If you don't answer, I'll suffocate you like your brother." Then it says, "You don't know us? I'm sure you have beautiful children. Bitch, fuck your children. Which one should I kill first? You know, no one knows who we are. I want to unalive them in such a way that no one can tell how they died. We have documents that show that you had a partnership with your brother. I want to do something to see the death of your loved ones." Right? So who is the boss that they're talking about? The boss who loved Epstein in the beginning, but only had an issue with Epstein because he decided to tell. So it's interesting that she said Epstein is dead, unalived.
In August of this year.
Yep. Well, my legal advisors tell me.
Epstein was found dead.
Yep.
In prison.
Yes.
In August of this year.
Yep.
What was your response on hearing that he'd died?
Shock.
Some people think that he didn't take his own life.
She brought it up. Thank you. The email that I just showed was literally somebody, anonymous person called Puggy Unaliver, sending emails to his brother, Mark Epstein, whose nickname is Puggy. That's what they were saying. "Hey, Puggy."
Well, there again, I'm not one to be able to answer that question. I believe that centers around something to do with a bone in his neck, as to whether or not if you commit suicide, that bone breaks or something. But I'm afraid to say I'm not an expert.
Why did he know about the bone in his neck? That's a weird thing to know. No, Epstein wasn't the boss. Epstein was working for somebody else. Because how would a math teacher who doesn't have his own degree become so rich out of nowhere and then know all of these different intelligence agencies? Like, he literally knew presidents, prime ministers from all around the world. How did he know that? How do you know any of that?
I have to take what the coroner says, and he has ruled that it was suicide. So
he's dead. His girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, your old friend, was, victims say, complicit in his behaviour.
But that bit I can't help you with because I've no idea.
Do you think that she has questions to answer about her role in this?
But in the same way that I have questions to answer, in the sense of what was I doing, and as I say, that I was there to my mind, be honourable and say to him, look, you've been convicted. it would be incompatible for me to be seen with you. Unfortunately, somebody was standing around with a camera at the time and got a photograph of us. It's one of the very few photographs there are of us, but that was the case. If there are questions that Ghislaine has to answer, that's her problem. I'm afraid I'm not in a position to be able to comment one way or the other.
When was your last contact with her?
It was earlier this year, funny enough, in the summer, in the spring, summer.
About what?
She was here doing some rally.
So even though he had by then been arrested and was facing charges of sex trafficking?
No. This was early spring, I think. It was long, because when was he arrested?
July.
No, it was before July.
And that was the last time?
Yeah.
Did you discuss Epstein at all then?
No, actually, funnily enough, no, not at all. There wasn't anything to discuss about him.
So he met Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and his companion, and his recruiter, and didn't discuss Epstein. Are you serious? Are you serious? She didn't discuss him at all?
Because he wasn't in the news. He wasn't, it was just, we moved on.
I want to talk about moving on now.
Oh, yeah, right, okay.
Epstein is dead.
Yes.
The women are now being heard.
Quite rightly.
How do you move on from this?
Well, it's an interesting way of putting it. I'm carrying on with what I do. I have a number of things that I have been doing since 2011. They're pretty well organised, pretty successful, and so I'm carrying on and trying to improve those things that I'm already doing.
I wonder what effect all this has had on your close family. You've got daughters of your own.
It has been what I would describe as a constant sore in the family. We all knew him. And I think that if we have a conversation about it, we're all left with the same thing of what on earth happened. Well, how did he get to where he was? What did he do? How did he do it?
He wasn't good friends with him, but they all knew him. He wasn't good friends with him, but they all knew him, the royal family.
And so it's just a constant sort of gnaw. I mean, this first came out in 2011, and it was a surprise to all of us because the photographs were published at a separate time to when I was there, and there was a sort of question about what was going on. And as a family, we discussed it. And then in 2015, when the allegations were made in the deposition, there was a sort of this is the immediate family, not the wider family. The wider family couldn't be more supportive, but the immediate family, it was, well, what's all this about? And we all just we're at a loss. So it's just.
Has the episode been damaging to the royal family, to Her Majesty the Queen?
I don't believe it's been damaging to the Queen at all. Has to me, and it's been a constant drip, if you see what I mean, in the background that people want to know. If I was in a position to be able to answer all these questions in a way that gave sensible answers, other than the ones that I've given that gave closure, then I'd love it. But I'm afraid I can't. I'm just not in a position to do so because I'm just as much in the dark as many people.
Oh my God. I'm just as much in the dark as other people. Excuse me? This guy was at the parties. How is he in the dark? Kiki, he wasn't only her son, he was her favorite son. That's the funny thing. This guy was the quote-unquote favorite son of the Queen.
You reconnect with the public then now?
But exactly what I'm doing, which is to use and to continue to work with pitch, to continue to work with idea and the things that I believe strongly in. I'm not somebody who does things in competition with people. Oddly, I do things in collaboration with people. So I want people to work together to come to, as it were, a solution to a bigger problem. And so I got a number of people working together, particularly in the education field, particularly and also in areas of government and what they are doing, so that we're bringing everybody together, so that we're all pushing in the same direction. An idea now does that. We've been going properly now for 2 years. We've got 3.5 million people who've got a badge. We've got 500,000, or just over 500,000 young people who are using the service, and I'm trying.
Him emphasizing young people using the service just really, really almost made me gag. Because we know why he wants to get in closer proximity to young people.
I think what else we've, but it's well, it's designed for 7 to 14-year-olds in the United Kingdom.
Oh, 7 to 14-year-olds. That's the exact demographic that he was interested in. Oh, Lord.
And it turns out it's done from 5 to 95 around the world. So it's being done in 100 countries now. So we're slightly on the catch-up for this one.
I know we have to bring this to a close because we're running out of time. You've faced questions today on a very, very raw subject. There has never been an interview like this before. I wonder what that tells us about the way...
I'm actually so disgusted, y'all.
Royal family now confronts these difficult situations. Has there been a sea change?
I think that the problem that we face in the 21st century is social media. There is a whole range of things that you face now that you didn't face 25 years ago because it was just the print media. And I think that to some extent there is a thick skin that you have to have. And again, I'm not a confrontationalist myself.
And you shouldn't sweat too,
I would
like
prefer to be able to, as it were, resolve things in a way that is sensible. And so choosing to, as it were, get out there and talk about these things, it's almost a mental health issue to some extent for me, in the sense that it's been nagging at my mind for a great many years. I know that I made the wrong judgment and I made the wrong decision, but I made the wrong decision and the wrong judgment, I believe, fundamentally for the right reasons, which is to say to somebody, I'm not going to see you again. And in fact, from that day forth, I was never in contact with him. The subsequent allegations are what I would describe as surprising, shocking, and a distraction. But there are all sorts of things that are on the internet and out there in the public domain that we just sort of go, well, yeah, but I'm afraid this is, it just never happened.
You've talked about a thick skin. Mm-hmm. I wonder if you have any sense now of guilt, regret, or shame about any of your behaviour and your friendship with Epstein?
As far as Mr. Epstein is concerned, it was the wrong decision to go and see him in 2010. As far as my association with him was concerned, it had some seriously beneficial outcomes in areas that have nothing to do with what I would describe as what we're talking about.
Is association with him beneficial outcomes?
Day. On balance, could I have avoided ever meeting him? Probably not. And that's because of my friendship with Ghislaine. It was inevitable that we would have come across each other. Do I regret the fact that he has quite obviously conducted himself in a manner unbecoming? Yes.
Conducted himself in a manner unbecoming is really an understatement. That is really an interesting way to put it.
Unbecoming. He was a sex offender.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm being polite, and in the sense that he was a sex offender. But no. Was I right in having him as a friend at the time? And bearing in mind this was some years before he was accused of being a sex offender. I don't think there was anything wrong then. The problem was the fact that once he had been convicted,
You stayed with him.
I stayed with him, and that's the bit that as it were, I kick myself for on a daily basis, because it was not something that was becoming of a member of the royal family, and we try and uphold the highest standards and practices, and I let the side down. Simple as that.
This interview has been exceptionally rare. You might not speak on this subject again. Is there anything you feel has been left unsaid that you would like to say now?
No, I don't think so. I think you've probably dragged out most of what is required, and I'm truly grateful for the opportunity that you've given me to be able to discuss this with you.
Your Royal Highness, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Dragged out is crazy. Meanwhile, this man is literally... Hold on. He's literally mentioned again. Let me reiterate. He is mentioned in not only... so he didn't only violate that one victim, but he violated the 16-year-old child whose journal we found. Because in the journal, she says, Andrew is like his brother in this way. His brother, being Charles, being attracted to young girls. And then she says, I guess it's a royal thing. Gross. Mind you, right? This is another case here where a person, Brian Miller, sends an email, redacted, but right next to it you see USANYS, which is like U.S. attorneys, right? He says, back in the 90s, Ghislaine Maxwell recruited a girl for a modeling career. Instead of modeling, she was sold as a sex slave for torture. Prince Andrew was an accessory to her death, as he tortured her and me to force her murder. I need to get a passport to identify her. I will need someone to contact the passport office to get an expedited passport. So this guy was not only raping minors, he was unaliving them. Allegedly. Literally here it says he tortured her to death. Literally here it says he tortured her to death. Crazy fucking work. Crazy fucking work. And not only that, hold on. Where is it? Let me close all of this, by the way. Right? By the way, yeah, this was the journal that I was talking about, by the way, right? The journal of the little girl who was also used as a incubator. The girl that mentioned Andrew was also used as an incubator because she got pregnant multiple times. She literally says here, as long as I'm wearing what you want, there is no respect for me as a human. I'm nothing but your property and incubator. So she had babies multiple times for Epstein. Right? And not only that, she says here, controlled all by Jeffrey, all the time. Get away from it all and go to New York. What in the hell? This makes no sense. What about school? Behind the scenes, he is now controlling everything when it used to be Ghislaine who some days acts like she hates me. Secrets of all of them. I'm tired of keeping these secret. I know people are wondering, but I can't tell. I'm exhausted. Broken promises. I don't understand why she is treating me on some days like I'm the enemy, but then we lay in bed together and she is how she used to be, warm. He makes her feel my tummy, and it's so sad and confusing. Superior gene pool. Why me? It makes no sense. Why my hair color and eye color? That feels very Yahtzee-like. But in thinking about these stupid, insane theories he has, I guess in his mind it makes sense. The piano and music comments are made to convince me this is right and will create perfect offspring, he calls them. Perfect offspring. This guy was doing eugenics. I don't think it works that way, and it's making me hate playing altogether. Piano or viola, I'm starting to resent them both. I miss the person I was before I was made into what feels as a human incubator. Right? This woman, by the way, multiple times talks about, I only got 10 to 15 minutes to hold and feed her before they took her. And then, again, she has another baby here where she says, she let me hold her and washed her and brought her back clean and perfect. She smelled so good and showed me how to feed her. But only after maybe 15 minutes, Mr. M came to take her. I was hysterical and begging for more time. He said those horrible girls were in the car waiting, but I wouldn't let her go. The old woman promised me she would be safe and I had to let go. 4 pounds, 10 ounces, 18.5 inches long with beautiful long fingers. I'm dead inside. Life has no meaning. I don't want to be here. This was a 16-year-old girl who they impregnated multiple times and had her give birth to these babies. So where are these babies? That's the question that I have. What did they do to these babies? Did they sell them to an adoption agency? Did they cannibalize them? Like in that one case when we read that victim report where the kid said, as an 8-year-old kid, he saw babies being cannibalized on top of a boat. So yeah. Right? And another thing that I really wanted to bring up was I've been hearing people say like, oh, like he didn't like black women, so that saved us, like him not liking black people, that saved us, racism protected. That's not true. The reason as to why probably they didn't actively post photos about it is because, we're seen as disposable, right? We're seen as disposable because this is another email from Redacted to Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? From Redacted to Jeffrey Epstein, in which he says, here it is. All we have to do is take one sideways x-ray of a woman's third lumbar region, or maybe the rest of the hip, to get the degree of curvature they think is optimal. Note that Nigerian women have the shortest interbirth interval of any women, so they should be more strongly selected for this quote-unquote cock-up body trait. Hence, never mind you caressing, redacted, behind, though was never going to be consistent with your later survival. One sideways x-ray will be our next best bet, and it should be good enough. What do you say? Yet another project we can do before the genetics. Yet another project we can do before the genetics. What is happening here? They're specifically mentioning Nigerian women. I'm guessing short interbirth interval is how long a person needs to recover? Is that what that means? Let's see what that means together. Short inter... Oh, what the hell is that? Okay. Short interbirth interval. What does that mean? A short interbirth interval, generally defined as less than 24 months. Here we go. A short interbirth interval, generally defined as less than 24 months between a live birth and the next conception, significantly increases risks of adverse maternal and neonatal outcomes. It is associated with preterm birth, low birth weight, small for gestational age, and increased maternal mortality. Optimal spacing is recommended to be 24 to 60 months. So he's basically saying Nigerian women can be used to breed well. That's what he's saying in the email. So to anyone who's talking about black women are safe, yeah, that's not true. Right? That's not true at all. Literally eugenics. He literally said, yet another project. Why does he see it as a project? Are women projects? Are babies projects? I'm confused. This is just eugenics, by the way. This is just eugenics. This is literally just eugenics. Right? Now, how many of the orphanages in the global south do this? There are so many orphanages in the global south. So many orphanages in Africa. How many of the rich people who go and adopt children from these areas, how many of them do this to them? The organ the organ harvesting that is currently happening in Libya and in Egypt towards Africans, black Africans, who are those organs being sold to? Genuine question, who are those organs being sold to? There's a lot of organ harvesting that's happening. This just seems like a whole network of people who are harvesting organs, who are, who are adopting children, babies. And if they can do this to their own babies, imagine this is being done to their own offspring because they are impregnating the girls. So this is their own offspring. And if they can do this to their own offspring, who's to say what they do to people who are not from their own country, from their own race? They're doing this to white girls. How do they, if they're doing this to white girls, young white girls, okay? Also, I personally feel like they probably predominantly targeted white girls. They predominantly target white girls because that is another extra level of power. Because, you know, they've been doing this to black people the whole time and got away with it, you know? They've been doing this to black people for centuries. Eating black people, harvesting organs, you know? So doing this to a black person and getting away with it, right, is something that's common. But doing it to a white person and getting away with it, that shows that you have power. If you do it to a white person, that shows you have power, that you can easily get away with it. And I bet a lot of these powerful people who are multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires, they get a high of exerting their power. You know what I mean? It's like addiction for them. It's an addiction for them. Now, I wanted to show you this guy, right? This is an email I found. This is another email that I found that was very interesting to me. Okay. So, oh, who took a photo of my lamp? Crazy. So this is another email that I found that was very interesting, okay, to me. Is this one. Look at this. So this is a guy who's sending an email to Brendan Quigley, who's a lawyer, okay? And the other person is redacted, but under his name it says Assistant United States Attorney, Southern District of New York. So they're kind of sloppy with what they're doing, right? With how they're redacting things. But what does it say here? It says here, we attach flight logs for David Rogers dating back January the 23rd, 2006 and September 19, 2013. We understand that these records will be kept confidential pursuant to Federal R Crime P6E. As discussed on the phone last week, we are in the process of obtaining and reviewing additional materials and anticipate making further productions to you on a rolling basis. And then he says, we hope you had a good holiday season. We attach additional flight logs for David Rogers reflecting flights between 1991 and January 2006. Again, we ask that these records be kept confidential. Then he says, hi, Brendan. Thanks very much. In terms of next steps, we would appreciate the opportunity to meet with your client for an interview. I think we've discussed this before, but in general, we continue to view your client as a witness, and we would expect the interview would largely focus on the flight records you've produced. We don't anticipate that we would need to speak with your client for much longer than an hour or so. In case that helps give a sense of what we have in mind. I think you mentioned that your client is based in Florida, so we're happy to discuss arranging logistics to work out something convenient for you and your client. Please let us know if a call would be useful to discuss further, and thanks again for sending records. Then he says, hi, Brendan. Following up on our conversation from 2 weeks ago, I wanted to check to see if you have any updates on when we might be able to schedule an interview. And then he says, our team has blocked off time to meet with your client on February the 7th along the lines we discussed. I wanted to check in with you to see if the issues you had raised regarding the estate has been resolved. Long story short, let's go to the first one. This one is the most important email, right? This one here. Brendan, in advance of Friday's meeting, wanted to give you a heads up that we expect to ask Mr. Rogers about a discrete topic that is related to our Epstein investigation just through the logs. It turns out there is a missing person named redacted, a teenager from Florida who was last seen sometime around about August the 1st, 1997. In the flight logs, there's an individual listed as redacted, so slightly different spelling on August the 1st, 1997, flight that's designated as being from SAR to ZOR. The entry is following. On the one hand, given the spelling, we thought perhaps it's a relative of your client. On the other, I don't see that name listed on other dates around then, but that's just a glance. In any event, we wanted to let you know. We expect to ask about it, and we're happy to discuss further with you in advance if that's useful. Now, who was the girl who went missing? They said a girl who went missing on August the 2nd, right? August the 2nd. Christy Rogers has been missing ever since she returned home from her boyfriend's house about 5:30 a.m. August the 2nd, 1997. And they said here, this person was last seen around about August the 1st, 1997. So they were last seen August the 1st, 1997. They were reported missing August the 2nd, a day after. Their name is Christy Rogers, Crestview, Florida. They're still labeled as missing. At the time of her disappearance, Rogers, then 16, was living with her mother by the overpass on Walnut Street in Crestview. Extensive searches by investigators through the woods into Hurricane and Bear Lake with sonar was fruitless. Now, I have the flight logs for that day. This is the flight logs for that day, right? August the 1st, you see here, David Rogers. What is the name y'all see right here? Right here. What name y'all see right there? Christy Rogers. She's on Epstein's flight logs. The missing girl is on Epstein's flight logs. Now, where did she fly out from? SAF, San Francisco to ZOR. Now, what is ZOR? What airport code is ZOR? Zorro Ranch. Zorro Ranch is a large private property located near Stanley, New Mexico, approximately 30 miles southeast of Santa Fe. The ranch gained significant notoriety due to its association with financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, who owned the property from the 1990s until his death in 2019. Epstein is alleged to have committed sex crimes against minors there. Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought it was SAF. Thank you. This place had its own airstrip. Right? It was a ranch. It had its own airstrip. Right? So why is this missing girl, who is still considered missing, by the way, they label it a cold case. a cold case. That's what they call it. They call it a cold case. Right? They call it a cold case. Like, I'm sorry. How is it a cold case if she's on the flight logs? Why did you not investigate it? Why did you not investigate it if she's on the flight logs? Right there, she's on the flight logs. You have the flight number 259. Here's the date. August 1. When did she go missing? She was reported missing on August 2, by the way. She was reported missing on August 2. And she took the flight on August 1. She went to that ranch and never made it out again. How are people still defending this? I'm confused. How's anybody defending this? By the way, this isn't the first time somebody has been unalive. Remember when we read that source from Trump? Hold on. Where was it? Remember those sources we read from Trump? Hold on. Was it here? Hold on. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to find it. Where is that source? Trying to find it. Here, this one. Remember this one? When she says, at 16, while modeling, Collar attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, Collar reported she was essayed by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, lured Collar and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Collar stated Orrin raped her best friend, and a third brother, Tal, raped a 14-year-old girl named Katie. Collar named other individuals involved in the big orgy parties with her, other young girls and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Online complainant reported she was a victim and witness to a sex trafficking ring at the Trump Golf Course in Rancho Palo Verde, California. Between 1995 and 1996, complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties, clients of whom included Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Complainant reported participating in orgies and that some girls went missing, rumored to have been unalived and buried at the facility. Complainant reported being threatened by Trump's then head of security that if she ever talked of what went on there or who she saw, she would end up as fertilizer for the back 9 holes like the other CUNTSs. So if he's saying she would end up fertilizer like the other CUNTs, what does that mean? That there are other girls. There are other girls who are being buried there. Right? There are other girls being buried there. Yes, I'm going to post all of this on Discord. There are other girls buried there. And not only that, by the way, there was another girl as well who talked about, hold on. Where is she? Hold on. Where is that girl? Hold on. We just read that. We just read this. We read this. Here. Complainant following up after a call with NYPD officer regarding her previous tip, reporting that she was forced to perform sex acts when she was 13 years old and pregnant in 1984. Complainant also reported there were high-profile individuals involved in her sex trafficking and the unaliving and disposal of her newborn daughter. Complainant reported Donald Trump participated regularly in paying money to force her to perform sex acts with him, and alleged Trump was present when her uncle unalived her newborn child. Right? Are people surprised that he also buried Ivana Trump, his ex-wife? He buried his ex-wife in the golf course as well. The ex-wife that he also raped, by the way. The ex-wife that he also raped, by the way. He buried in that golf course. Are we even surprised? Right? And what the funny thing is, hold on. Where is this? Trump denies rape of woman, allegedly. Right? Why is this man mentioned so many times in this file? Right? Why did this guy... And this is what's also interesting. Watch this, you guys. Hold on. This is an email that was sent. It says redacted on top, but it was sent in 2020. Okay? It says here, hold on. DOJ report says FBI wanted to arrest Epstein at Virgin Islands beauty pageant before plea deal. The Miami Herald reports a Justice Department look-back report into its abortive 2008 prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein found that the Federal Bureau of Investigation had planned to arrest Jeffrey Epstein in May of 2007, but pulled back after the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida, led by former Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta, frowned on the plan. Acosta's also in the Epstein files, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure he's also in the Epstein files. Allegedly. And he frowned upon the plan. That's why he pulled back the FBI from arresting what's his name? From arresting, Epstein. The report also concludes that Epstein wasn't assisting the federal government in prosecuting Wall Street traders behind the collapse of investment bank Bear Stearns, or serving as an intelligence asset, long rumored to be reasons for his notoriously lenient treatment. That determination raises questions about an FBI document that seems to identify Epstein as providing information to the Bureau. NBC News reports the Justice Department's Office of Professional Responsibility found that former Labor Secretary Alex Acosta, who oversaw the case when he was a top federal prosecutor in Florida in the mid-2000s, exercised poor judgment but did not engage in misconduct. The full report quotes one prosecutor as telling a colleague that the FBI had wanted to arrest Epstein in the Virgin Islands during a beauty pageant where he is a judge. The case agent recalled that she and her co-case agent were disappointed about being denied the opportunity to make the arrest in May 2007. The report says, and an FBI supervisor overseeing the case was extremely upset about it. It wasn't until a year later in 2008 that Epstein surrendered to authorities after signing a plea deal. That the FBI wanted to bring charges against Epstein in 2007 was already known, but the agency's interest in arresting him at a beauty pageant in the Virgin Islands has not been previously reported. So why were they stopped from arresting him? Right? And also, why were Epstein's guards charged with falsifying records? AP reports that Tovil Knoll and Michael Thomas, two jail guards responsible for monitoring Jeffrey Epstein the night he unalived himself, quote unquote, allegedly, were charged Tuesday with falsifying prison records to conceal they were sleeping and browsing the internet during the hours they were supposed to be keeping a close watch on prisoners. Noel and Thomas were accused in a grand jury indictment of neglecting their duties by failing to check on Epstein for nearly 8 hours and of fabricating log entries to show they had been making checks every 23 minutes as required. During one 2-hour period, the indictment said both appeared to have been asleep. CBS Evening News reported the union representing the two officers say that the charges sidestep the larger problem of chronic understaffing in federal prisons. While NBC Nightly News showed Kathleen Hawk Sawyer, director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, saying this indictment was a black eye on the entire Bureau of Prisons. NBC added that in a Senate hearing yesterday, Sawyer also said she couldn't comment on ongoing FBI and Inspector General investigations into Epstein's death. ABC World News Tonight showed Senator Lindsey Graham asking Sawyer, do you concur with the opinion that it was a suicide? Sawyer replied, that was the finding of the coroner, sir. Pressed on whether she has any evidence to suggest otherwise, Sawyer said, I do not. The New York Times reports that the indictment for the first time laid out a detailed official account of what happened inside the jail the night that Mr. Epstein died inside a high-security protective housing unit. It said that video evidence showed no one entering the wing here. Mr. Epstein was being held between 10:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. when he was found. According to the Times, Noel and Thomas only discovered Mr. Epstein had hanged himself in his cell 15 feet from their desk when they went to give him breakfast at 6:30 a.m. The Washington Post, USA Today, New York Post, and Reuters, among other news outlets, also cover the indictment. Also, interestingly enough, hold on. First of all, look at all they redacted. Look at all the redacted. Trump charged with seeking to delete security footage in documents case. Right? Hold on. Where is it? The Associated Press and the Wall Street Journal reported that several new charges were filed Thursday against former President Trump in a case involving illegally possessing classified documents. Prosecutors allege that Trump instructed a staff member to delete camera footage at his Florida estate so that he could obstruct a federal investigation into the records by attempting to conceal the fact that he possessed classified documents. According to the documents, the additional charges brought an indictment brought by Florida grand jury in June alleging the former president held on to sensitive military secrets he knew he shouldn't have retained access to, shared them with others, and directed his staff to help him evade authorities' efforts to get them back. So again, if this guy is doing this to this, how much footage has he deleted when people were not paying attention? How much footage has he deleted when people were not paying attention? Like, how much footage was deleted if I tried copying and pasting, by the way. I tried copying and pasting. It doesn't work. I love you too. Thank you. By the way, a second victim reached out to me. Who found the name, or a potential victim, person who dodged the bullet. Person who dodged the bullet, but they found the person who tried to do that to them in the Epstein files. Isn't that crazy? They found the person who tried to do that to them in the Epstein files. A survivor, basically. Second person. Wicked business, exactly. Wicked, wicked business. Wicked, wicked, wicked business. And I don't know why Epstein was getting emails about how Trump bragged about groping women, and his response to that was ouch, because it was out there. 229. Did you mention that? Hold on. What did you mention? 229. Okay, let's see this. This one keeps getting recommended to me. Sorry, so let's see it. So it is EFTA 01250 229. And then others that were recommended to me are also there. What is this? Yes, I'm 18. What is this? Okay. It says, this is from, the name is just DFD43299. 2 redacted. Subject confidential Epstein. November 21, 2019. The same year that Epstein was found dead. Beyonce is not in the files. The only time Beyonce is referenced in the files is when people are trying to buy concert tickets to her concert. But no, she is not in the files, as in she didn't do anything in the files. Jay-Z is in the files, though. Edward, this is sensitive, so it will be the first and last email depending on your discretion. You can choose to take it or trash it, but this comes from a person that has been there and seen it all as a former staff at the Zorro. The material below was taken from Jeffrey Epstein home as my insurance in case of future litigation against Epstein. Sorry, no questions. What is damning about Jeffrey Epstein is yet to be written. Did you know somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro, 2 foreign girls were buried on orders of Jeffrey and Madam G? Both died by strangulation during rough fetish sex. Here are the video footage of Jeffrey Epstein. And he adds a footage of sex video with a minor, threesomes video, underage girl, girl from Bay Area, self-unaliving attempt, confession to Madam G. What the fuck? Saving this shit immediately. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, what are the other ones that you guys told me to check? EFTA 01004801. Okay. And then the next one is EFTA 0273 1361. Sorry, y'all. I'm just checking all the ones that were sent to me. EFTA 00153942. Let's read them together because I haven't read these, right? EFTA 0273 1361. EFTA 001123401. You guys sent me so... Oh, this one is already deleted. What was this one? This one is deleted. Crazy. This one is already deleted. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, it's deleted. That's why you can't see it. EFTA 022 42 999. This one is still here. I'm gonna go through all of them one by one, y'all. 1, 2, 3, 66, 997. Okay, another one. The last one is EFTA 1, 2, 3, 4, 83, 20. Okay. Okay. Ugh! Oh my god! You type hard as fuck. Sorry, y'all. I get like really anxious. Massaging my father. Hold up. Okay, let's go one by one. Okay, this is the what's called video. Let me see. I downloaded it. Okay. Shut that one. What is this one? Here is a deck about my designer baby project. I have talked with Austin again, and we have a series of questions about how serious you are about wanting this and what the ground rules are for me even exploring this with you and getting next steps. Most of these questions are around your requirements for secrecy and privacy, specifically regarding reputational risk and also any financial involvement. I think there would also need to be some understanding about goals and feasibility of different results. I think that one day this could be done under the banner of my designer babies project, since the other deliverable is similar and shares so many of the same procedures and lab requirements. This might offer a sufficient level of deniability. What the fuck am I reading? What the fuck am I reading? What is a designer baby? What the fuck is a designer baby? Hold on. It's another one that I was just sent. EFTA 006 53 97 6. Oh, I give you permission to kill him. He is apparently, so this is a person who is sending it to him. Sarah, who's Sarah? Who's Sarah Hamblin? Wait, what did the person say? Sarah Hamblin? I give you permission to kill him. Apparently, she won a lawsuit over this, so it's not Susan Hamblin. Allegedly. I don't want to get sued over that. I'm still stuck at the designer babies project. That's what I'm still stuck at. What is a designer baby? Designer baby project. A designer baby is an embryo or fetus whose genetic makeup has been intentionally selected or altered, often to exclude a particular gene or to remove genes associated with disease to achieve so eugenics. Eugenics. That's what designer baby is. Somebody said to check Discord. Give me a second. Apparently, Susan Hamblin, allegedly though, not too sure about this one, but apparently this is the name that they found of the woman saying kill him. So, it kind of makes sense. Remember the girl in her journal said He picked her for her hair and her eye color, and then claimed that he was a Yahtzee. That was a 16-year-old girl. She claimed that. So they were creating designer babies? Is that why the babies were being taken away? I think it was this one, wasn't it? Hold on. Yeah, this one right here. Superior gene pool. Why me? It makes no sense. Why my hair color and eye color that feels very Yahtzee-like? But in thinking about these stupid, insane theories he has, I guess in his mind it makes sense. This is the victim herself writing about this. She mentions it herself. Were they trying to create like Aryan babies? Is that what they were trying to do? But what were they creating them for? Okay, what is this? This is David Rogers. Okay. We'll go through that. Okay, we'll go through this too. We're saving this. We're saving everything because we don't know how many things they'll be deleting. What is this? It says here, "Hi Mary. Here's Jeffrey's Medicare card. I believe you need this also. Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone. You too. And yes, I'll ask Jeffrey to arrive at 2:15 p.m. Hello, Mary. Jeffrey would like to keep a copy of his CTA scan performed on April the 10th at 2:30 p.m. in his medical file. Might you be able to send one? Sure, no problem. Give me at least an hour to send this over. Wow, an hour. Fantastic. Thank you. I know I told you an hour, but someone is using a fax scanner. I'll do it tomorrow about 10ish. Sorry, Mary. Hi, Mary. Just following up, just hoping the same person is not still busy with your fax scanner. As promised. Thank you, Mary. What is this? He had an appointment on April the 10th, a CTA scan. I'm confused. What is it? Oh. I'm confused. Hold on. What is this? EFTA 0017 2840. Oh. TA. In August of 2007, the Seattle FBI opened an investigation on David Copperfield in relationship to a rape of a young female. The investigation showed that Copperfield trained his employees to identify young females, teens to early 20s, in the audience of his shows. These females were separated from their boyfriends, families, and husbands and were brought backstage. Copperfield's employees were given access to a notebook that instructed them how to provide Copperfield with females. He kept a notebook with the females he was with, including in the notebook that contained contact information, whether he had sex with them, and a photograph. I don't know if any of his victims were underage. There were allegations that he substanced some of the females. I recall Epstein's name coming up in our investigation a number of times, and Copperfield appeared to have a very close relationship with Epstein. His name was on a list we found that included other men, some of which had reputations like Copperfield and Epstein. Our case was eventually closed because our USAO was weak and intimidated by the financial resources of Copperfield. Admittedly, the victim had issues and the jurisdictional issues were challenging. Because of the nature of the investigation, I tried to get copies of as much as I could before the original evidence was returned. I don't know if the information would help your investigation, but I thought I should let you know that some of the information should still exist. So David Copperfield, another person. The list keeps getting, longer. And it makes sense as to why he was talking about Nigerian women having a slower interbirth interval. We read this diary yesterday, by the way. Oh, I already saved this. I'm gonna go through this one. What is this? Saving this. I'm just saving everything at this point. What is this? Plaintiff Mary Doe, by and through her attorneys, Cutie Hecker Wang, LLP, and Allard Morocco and Goldberg for her complaint alleges as follows. Beginning when plaintiff Mary Doe was 16 years old, Jeffrey Epstein preyed upon her, manipulated her to be completely dependent on him, and repeatedly essayed her. As a result, she attempted self-unalive multiple times. His degradation of her was total for years. Trigger warning. Again. Trigger warning. Yes, 16. Redacted. He made clear to Mary how important and powerful he was. Mary felt very fortunate to have met Epstein. She was amazed that such a powerful man wanted to help her and believed that she could trust him. Because they had hours of conversation about her and her desire for an education, she understood that he could change her life and help her achieve her parents' dream of going to a top school. Epstein used this power over Mary to SA her viciously and repeatedly. Epstein, often through defendant redacted, would summon Mary to his Manhattan townhouse, order her to give him massages, and then subject her to SA, the severity of which increased over time. In Mary's first visit to the townhouse, it was only a massage. Redacted. Who are they protecting? Epstein gave Mary a few $100s. Okay? Epstein manipulated and threatened Mary to ensure that she understood his total power over her life, with both offers to help and threats not to contradict him. Mary understood that she had no choice but to follow his commands. In approximately 2004, redacted. Again. Redacted played an integral role in facilitating Epstein's sexual abuse of Mary. Redacted arranged for Mary to come to the townhouse and frequently saw Mary go into the massage room with Epstein. Epstein openly commented to Redacted about Mary performing sexual acts for him, and Redacted once witnessed Epstein forcing Mary Redacted. In late 2005, after being essayed by Epstein yet again, she heard Epstein shout to Redacted that Redacted. Mary was mortified and ashamed, and in that moment suddenly saw the truth. She was not even a human being to Epstein. She was an object. As she left the townhouse feeling physically ill, Mary saw another girl around her age entering his townhouse. The penny dropped. Mary suddenly felt like Epstein's prostitute, as one of the many girls he treated as sexual objects. Redacted. She nearly immediately left New York City, returned to her parents' home across the country, and never saw Epstein again. Where are the parents? Where are the parents? I'm confused. Where are the parents? For her to be going cross country and she's 16 years old? Imagine selling your own child like this. Imagine just selling your own child, bro. Some people don't deserve to have kids, man. She isolated herself and had to rebuild from a dark place. Mary continues to feel the dramatic psychological scars from Epstein's abuse every day. When Epstein was arrested in July 2019, Mary was briefly hopeful that he might finally face consequences, but his death left Mary with the desolate sense that he has evaded justice again. Mary brings this act seeking at last some measure of justice for the egregious abuse that Epstein inflicted on her when she was a child, which irreparably scarred her for life. Plaintiff Mary Doe is an individual who resides in western United States. Defendants Darren K. Dyke and Richard D. Can are the executors of the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. As executors of the estate, defendants Dyke and Can are liable for the acts and omissions of Epstein and his agents. Defendant is an individual who at all relevant times resided in New York. Redacted was Epstein's assistant and scheduler who, upon information and belief, played an integral role in operating Epstein's operation of sex trafficking, Mary and other underage girls. Upon information and belief, redacted is a resident of redacted. Why are they redacting the assistant? Why are they redacting the assistant? I'm confused. This court has subject matter, The court has personal, Factual allegations. Hold up. Why did they redact the factual allegations? Why did they redact all the factual allegations? All of it is redacted. What is this? In this context, Mary met Jeffrey Epstein for the first time. In what context? We don't know what context. Mary met Jeffrey Epstein for the first time in approximately the summer of 2004 when she was 16 years old. Redacted, the woman said that Epstein had connections to Victoria's Secret and told Mary that he would be the most interesting person she'd ever meet. Mary made an appointment to meet Epstein at his townhouse at 9 East 71st Street in Manhattan. Mary did not view it as strange or concerning to go to Epstein's home. During that time period, it was common for her, redacted, to run around the city, ringing the doorbells of artists and photographers to meet with them at their studios and homes. Redacted. In those interactions, she had found nearly all of the people she met to be nice and found that they were not predators and understood that she was a child. When Mary rang the doorbell of Epstein's townhouse, a maid answered the door, but Epstein was standing right behind her, giving the impression that he was expecting Mary. Epstein seemed larger than life to Mary. Mary was impressed by the grandeur of Epstein's townhouse, the ornate furnishings, and the numerous photographs of famous people. Epstein quickly touted his connections to important people. He pointed out to Mary a photo of Bill Clinton, the president who made it possible for redacted. Epstein told her that he and President Clinton were best friends. When Mary explained her family's story, Epstein told her that he would personally thank Bill on her and her family's behalf. What? Epstein told her about himself, including about his healthy lifestyle, and that he did not drink or do substances. This put her at ease and caused her to think, I'm in good hands. Epstein asked Mary whether she had a boyfriend. Redacted. After they conversed, Epstein told Mary that he had a knot in his back that his masseuse had not gotten out and asked if she would help him with it. Mary took this to be an innocent request. Epstein led Mary to the massage room in his townhouse. He gave her a large massage device to use on his back, and she did so. Afterwards, Epstein told her she was an excellent masseuse. He pulled $200 or $300 out of his wallet and gave them to Mary, saying in substance, I was going to give it to my masseuse anyway, so you take it and pay for your car service or something. Afterwards, Mary felt very fortunate to have made the connection with Epstein. She found him very impressive and the smartest person she had ever met. She could not fathom the wealth and luxury that he had and felt that she wanted to be like him. She assumed she would never see Epstein again and would move on with her life. To Mary's surprise, Epstein called soon afterward. He told her that he had enjoyed talking to her, that he was impressed at how smart she was for a 16-year-old. Oh my God. This is a grown man, y'all. This is a grown man. He told her that he had enjoyed talking to her. Doesn't this give Drake? Remember when Drake talked about Millie Bobby Brown? And he was like, we're just friends. And she was like 15. How are you, grown-ass man? And friendly with a minor? It was impressive how smart she was for a 16-year-old and that her story was touching. Epstein asked if Mary would like to see him again. Mary found it unbelievable that Epstein, such a smart and powerful man, was impressed by her. She was thrilled at the successful track her life appeared to be taking. She believed that if she stuck by Epstein, she would be in good hands. This is a 16-year-old, by the way. When Mary went to Epstein's townhouse a second time, Epstein discussed his connections with Victoria's Secret and said he would put in a good word for Mary. When Mary conversed with Epstein, she felt like she was in the presence of someone who was powerful and perfect. She saw that he had the ability to reach down from his powerful position and influence the people directly involved with Mary's daily life and her future prosperity. Epstein made a point of calling massive celebrities such as an Oscar-winning actress and a world-famous supermodel on speakerphone. Who is that? Oh, Mary Doe. That's not her actual name. So the name that they gave is Mary Doe. On speakerphone in Mary's presence to show her tremendous influence he had. Those two famous women did pick up the phone and talk to Epstein when he called. They plainly also thought he was impressive and important. Mary told Epstein about her parents being upset that she was pursuing modeling and explained that it was their dream for Mary to attend a prestigious college. Epstein told Mary that he was on the board of directors of Harvard University. He promised her that if she did well on her SATs, he would write her a letter of recommendation for Harvard, which he said would carry significant weight in the admission decision. Mary strongly desired for her parents to be proud of her. Accordingly, Epstein's assurance that he could help her get into Harvard was deeply meaningful to her. Epstein brought Mary back to the massage room, redacted. Afterwards, Epstein gave Mary $200 in cash and she left. The third time Mary went to Epstein's townhouse, redacted. They're basically hiding what he did to her. Right? They're basically hiding what he did to her. After, again, redacted. What did he do to her? They're hiding every single allegation that she had that he did to her. Afterwards, Epstein gave her $300 and left. Epstein's pattern of abuse continued. Redacted. Each time Epstein would give her $200 or $300 bills. Each time of what? Each time of what? Epstein acted as if he were redacted. Redacted. Afterwards, after what? After what? You keep saying afterwards, but after what exactly? Epstein told her how amazing she was and gave her $200 or $300. As time went on and Mary's relationship with her parents remained distant due to their objection to her career choice, Epstein became the only adult presence in her life. Epstein began calling Mary constantly, whether she was in New York or traveling. He told her that he loved her. Redacted, and as a child, she perceived Epstein's daily checkup calls as giving her emotional support that she did not otherwise have. Epstein told Mary that the island he owned in the Virgin Islands and made repeated attempts to fly her to the Virgin Islands to meet people he assured her were very influential and would help her future. Epstein told Mary that she would be willing to give other people massages as well. Oh my God, other people massages as well? This is nasty. Epstein invited Mary to stay in his home in Paris and arranged for her to attend a concert accompanied by a world-famous supermodel. Epstein had manipulated Mary into believing that Epstein's thoughts were focused on her career and her future. At the same time, Epstein made sure Mary understood his power over her. If she was ever late to meet him, he would tell her that nobody messes with his time and that she could lose everything. When Mary told Epstein she needed to leave for Redacted, he often demanded that she stay, telling her things like, "Redacted, you can miss that appointment." Epstein continued to train Mary to be submissive to him and to submit to his orders. Anytime Mary failed to do exactly what Epstein commanded of her, Epstein threatened her and verbally berated her on one occasion, when Mary failed to show up precisely when Epstein had asked her, he reacted with anger, telling her in substance, "How dare you? I could make you disappear. I could destroy you. I own this city." He's saying this to a 16-year-old, by the way. He's saying this to a 16-year-old. Right? Epstein's threats terrified Mary. She made sure to stay in line and not disobey him. When Mary talked back, Epstein would belittle her and scrutinize her appearance. At one point, Epstein critiqued Mary's body, telling her that her legs were too big. Epstein went so far as to send Mary to a plastic surgeon who declined to perform any procedures on her. Redacted again. Mary saw Epstein numerous times from the summer of 2004 until the end of 2005. These meetings were often arranged by calls from Epstein himself. On numerous occasions, defendant Redacted called Mary and scheduled appointments between Mary and Epstein. Mary first met Redacted in approximately early 2005 when Mary was approximately 16 years old. Upon information and belief, Redacted knew that Epstein engaged in numerous sexual acts with Mary when Mary was a minor. When Redacted called Mary to arrange meetings between Mary and Epstein, Redacted referred to them as massage appointments. Upon information and belief, Redacted knew that Epstein would engage in sexual acts with Mary as a minor at some or all of these massage appointments at the time and Redacted arranged those meetings. While Mary was traveling, Redacted wired money to her in order to facilitate further encounters between men. Who's wiring this money? Upon information and belief, Redacted was an integral part of Epstein's child sex trafficking operation. Why are they protecting a person who is literally aiding and enabling Epstein into assaulting girls? Upon information and belief, Redacted engaged in a long pattern of actions aimed at recruiting underage girls for Epstein to use for sexual purposes and to facilitate sexual encounters between underage girls and Epstein. Upon information and belief, Redacted kept a Rolodex that included numerous underage girls for Epstein to use for sexual purposes. Upon information and belief, Redacted warned numerous underage girls who had been SA'd by Epstein not to talk to the police, causing them to feel intimidated and frightened. Redacted was often present in the townhouse when Mary came there. Mary frequently observed Redacted at Epstein's side, and Redacted often observed Mary going in and out of the massage room. On one occasion, Epstein violently forced Mary, Redacted. Redacted walked into the area and witnessed the SA, then quickly walked away. Minutes later, Mary heard Redacted. Mary was incredibly embarrassed and thought, "That's not me. I don't want to be presented this way." On another occasion, in Mary's presence, Epstein instructed Redacted. How many Redacted this is? One day in approximately late 2004, when Mary was 16 years old, Epstein raped her. Redacted. Afterwards, Epstein gave Mary $200. He led her out of the townhouse, assuring her, as he had many other times, that she was on the right path under his guidance. Epstein told Mary that he loved her and said, "Don't fuck it up." Throughout 2005, Epstein continued to exercise tremendous control over Mary's life. In the spring of 2005, when Mary was 17 years old, Epstein arranged for Mary to stay in an apartment of his on the redacted close to his townhouse. One day, around Thanksgiving 2005, when Mary was 17 years old, Mary again went to Epstein's townhouse for the final time. As he had so many times before, Epstein essayed her, then gave her a few $100s, redacted. As Mary walked out of the townhouse and onto the street, she saw another young girl walk by and go into the townhouse. At that moment, Mary's world shattered. Epstein had made himself the center of her young existence, masking himself as a parental substitute and mentor who had her best interests in mind. She realized that Epstein was paying her for her sexual acts and that she was just one of many young girls Epstein had in rotation for his use as sexual objects. She felt that she was no longer a human being. Mary effectively had a nervous breakdown. She was humiliated, angry, and self-unaliving. She felt immense desolation. She found herself crying, inconsolably shaking, and hyperventilating. Mary was desperate to escape the circumstances Epstein had her living in, but she needed Epstein's permission to leave New York. She asked Epstein to let her visit her parents. Epstein agreed to let Mary go, but only if she returned immediately after. Epstein made sure to have his close associate purchase a round-trip ticket from Mary. But once Mary left New York, she never went back, even though she had significant jobs lined up. Epstein and his agents continued to contact Mary, but she refused to go back. Near the end of 2005, Epstein tracked down the home phone number of Mary's parents and called. Mary's mother answered the phone, told Epstein that he should go out with women his own age, and told her she was going to call the police. So the mother knew? If she's telling him go out with women your own age, the mother knew this whole time and was allowing her daughter to go there? At the same time, Mary remained extremely frightened of all of Epstein's power and threats and would never have let her parents call the police. This essay that Epstein inflicted on Mary left permanent psychological scars. She remains plagued with self-doubt, insecurity, and despair. She often has difficulty sleeping. She has struggled to build healthy relationships as she finds it nearly impossible to separate memories of Epstein's manipulation and abuse from new relationships she tries to develop. When Epstein was arrested in 2019, Mary was briefly hopeful that he might face justice, but the worldwide publicity that he subsequently received only deepened her despair. Epstein's death left Mary with a desolate sense that he has managed to evade justice yet again. She desperately wants some measure of justice for herself and all of Epstein's other underage victims. This action is timely because it falls within New York CPLR 214G and is brought during the one-year time period set forth in that section. She has photographs. Crazy. Paragraph, sorry. Wow. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Already downloaded this. This one creeped me out, y'all. I think I might... Do y'all read this? Do y'all read this? Do y'all read this? Disgusted. What the fuck am I what the fuck am I watching? What am I reading? Why baby loves massage? Ah, there are pictures. Oh my god, bro. Why is this in the Epstein files? Why is this in the Epstein files? I'm confused. Is this the books he gave the undercover underage girls? This is the books he gave underage girls. It was mentioned. Who was it? One of the girls mentioned receiving a book in her interview. Who was it? I forgot which one it was. I read that before yesterday. She mentioned that she received a book. Was it yesterday or before yesterday? Yesterday or before yesterday. I mentioned it. I remember. She said she received a book. Oh. This is the book that he prepared for them. Oh my God. You need a few important ingredients in order to create a great sensual massage. These include the following: a naked supermodel, a gallon and a half of musk-scented massage oil from ancient Persia, any CD by Barry White. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm just thinking about the fact that minors got this. Setting the sensual mood. Oh my God. I'm just thinking about the fact that minors were the ones who were reading this. Oh my God. Oh my God, bro. Minors were reading this shit. Is that Jeffrey Epstein? No, that's not him. The most sensual organ of them all. Have hands will travel. Doing massage for a living. Oh my God. 10 traits of a born massage therapist. This is a training book. This is a training book that he gave girls. 10 top places to study a massage. To give massage as a gift? Oh, this is nasty. This is actually nasty. What was this obsession with massages? Why was he obsessed with massages? And why is this redacted? What is written here? Yeah, the book is not what's creepy. What's creepy to me is that he's giving this to minors. That's what's creepy to me. It's creepy that he's giving this to minors, knowing full well what he wants them to do. That's what's creepy. Why would you give this book to minors? It's like what the pilot was writing. Hold on. What the pilot was writing, wasn't it? Notes of the pilot. I'm going to go through these notes tomorrow. But today is just... I found another one as well, by the way. Like another email where he was talking with this guy. I'll try to dissect it tomorrow, Epstein. And he was saying that like women's reproductive... Like, women are only good for their reproductive organs or some shit like that. And he's, like, talking to this guy, basically saying, like, why should a woman live after she can't use her reproductive organs anymore? Like, she has no value to be living anymore. Right? And they were actively talking about that yesterday. And the way that they were talking about women was so dehumanizing. And it was this guy called Richard, but I don't know what his last name is. It was just Richard, basically. And I remember like feeling so disgusted when I read through that. But I'm gonna read through that tomorrow probably. But I did want to show this, okay? This is he was a deckhand on a super yacht, and he's talking about his experiences on that yacht with the rich, and really, really wanted to watch this with y'all.
So I'm a deckhand on a super yacht. I basically get paid to travel around the world working for billionaires. From the Instagram and Snapchat stories, everyone seems to think that you've got the coolest job in the world. The reality of it is that you are clearing out rooms that have just...
By the way, this is an anonymous interview that was done a couple years ago for Vice. And the fact that the things that this guy is saying that he has experienced on billionaires' mega yachts corroborates what you see in the Epstein files, by the way. So interesting.
The reality of it is that you are clearing out rooms that have just had sex parties, orgies, prostitutes, coke residue on the tables the next day, veal or livestock so fresh that it actually gets flown in on a helicopter, is slaughtered on board, and served to the guests as fresh as can be. Unfortunately, it can sometimes get a bit seedy, a bit creepy with drunk people who think they can do whatever they want. These owners, these millionaires, these billionaires, they're incredibly powerful people, and a lot of the time they get their runway. Drug smuggling can go on in the industry. If people wanted to be moving, drugs and illicit substances, I reckon it'd be pretty easy to do. It's an incredibly secretive world, which no one really knows much about. The guests just use super yachts as their little playground. They live in this little bubble where they think anything goes and anything can happen.
Anything can happen, he said.
These yachts are always pretty mad, particularly the larger ones. They will pretty much always contain a pool or some sort of hot tub. Equipped with a gym. Some of them have cinemas. Some of them have their own spas, helidecks, and will store a helicopter on board. The cost of these yachts can exceed anywhere over £500 million. I think some of the most expensive charter yachts on the market at the moment can actually cost $4 million a week. You do always secretly know that the people you're working for haven't always done the best things in their lives. I've received job offers for the owner of a boat who is one of the most notoriously corrupt people on the planet. And during the job interview, the chief officer actually asked me, am I morally okay with who this person is and what he's done? And you kind of just have to ask yourself, am I okay with this? The expectations of the guests are pretty much whatever they ask for, we can deliver to them. As the day tends to go on and more alcohol gets consumed, their expectations go up and our ability to deliver goes down. Sexual harassment definitely does go on in the industry. You do hear quite a few stories which make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. There is a sexual element to the job 100%. It's a very superficial industry that a lot of boats will only hire on the way you look and what waist size you are, what chest size you are, etc. I think they can forget that you're here for work, you're not here to be violated in any way. The victims of these cases are paid off. They're told to keep their mouths shut in order for bonuses or perks. It gives the people this right to think that they can get away with anything. There have been a few serious incidents in super yachting that have gone wrong and actually led to fatalities. One of the most famous ones in the industry was actually an anchor chain coming loose. The chain spun around in what's called the mooring bay, which is the forward section of the boat called the bow. The chain spun around and actually took the leg off one of the officers, and unfortunately he bled to death and died. Basically, you've just got to stay really switched on at all times, which can be a big part of the reason why working in the industry can get you so tired and run down. I did a pretty long stint working on a charter boat. It was nearly 130 days of season, back-to-back charters, and within that time we only had one day off. At the end of that, when I actually left that boat, I felt like I was ready to leave the industry because it was just killing me, essentially. You can burn out really quickly. And you can look at guys who are, they've been in yachting for 10 years or so and they look pretty weathered. Their skin's destroyed by the sun. The lack of sleep has just fucked them over, and it can really have quite a physical effect on your body, and it's pretty visible. And the reason that we're so busy is because obviously we only have a certain number of crew cabins on board. You're always in a cabin of 2, if not 4 on some bigger boats, if not 6 on some super large ones. Cabin fever is definitely a real thing. You can feel cooped up like a caged animal sometimes, and personal space becomes a serious issue. Working in yachting definitely teaches you a lot of mental fortitude. You work very long hours with little rest, and that teaches you how to be resilient and just kind of push on through. Obviously there are some negative effects on your mental health. I don't really understand the mindset of a billionaire, but when a lot of money is involved, it changes people, and I think it always brings out the worst in a lot of people's personalities.
Brings out the worst in a lot of people's personalities. Another video that I really wanted to show you guys is this guy who was a hotel manager. A hotel manager of a luxury hotel. And he is actively talking about the stuff that he has seen at these mega rich sex parties.
The hotel industry is a wild experience that helps you understand how disconnected the wildly wealthy are. I've seen the darker side of humanity: suicides, murders, spousal abuse, human trafficking. That shit stays with you for a long time.
He just said human trafficking. He has seen that.
Abuse, human trafficking. That shit stays with you for a long time. One weekend, a large group of around 60-ish people, they wanted to purchase out the entire hotel so they could just turn it into a giant orgy. The cost of that property was upwards of $250,000 for 2 nights at a time. That says you've got money to spend. They left a nightmare room. Blood, feces, semen stains. One of my bellboys came up and was like, I've got a black light, I'm curious. He turned it on, and I remember we looked down and saw the stains. We looked to the sides and saw them on the wall. At one point in the bathroom, we looked up and saw them all on the ceiling, and we were just like, how do you do this? This is not human. Were you on the ceiling? I worked as an operations manager for around 10 plus years. I've worked in hotels where the average daily rate is anywhere from like $99 and then all the way up to boutique properties where the average cost is around $1,400 per night. In general, the higher up the price value, the more common it is to be treated like you're less than human. The people who are coming to visit you, famous pop stars, Russian oligarchs, they have a private plane that they get in a private vehicle with all tinted blackout windows. Sometimes they have security squads. They'll snap their fingers at them. Very large sense of entitlement where if they approach the desk, they are the only thing that exists to you in that moment. And that's what they came to expect from that level of entering a luxury hotel. Most people who visit boutique hotels are not coming for business. They're there for pleasure. There was a group of fabulously wealthy individuals. You can definitely get a sense of how much wealth they actually have when they're talking about things like buying a fleet of Boeings in the lobby casually. They would buy out this entire property. They were spending as much as a luxury wedding. And it's basically a giant swingers orgy. You'd have people having sex in the pool, people laying on our wine bars naked, a couple having sex on a balcony in plain view. So you're looking up at it, quite an angle. And every single room would have a different theme and a safe word posted outside of the door. The one that stands out to me was there's a mermaid themed room. It was actually kind of impressive, the details they went, so it was very like under the sea vibe. There was the Wild West room. There was the straight up BDSM room. One couple we had to talk to while they were naked. They would purposely wait to start having sex until housekeeping wanted to clean the room. They wanted somebody to watch.
Ew.
The day after they had all departed, I got a call from housekeeping saying that one of the showers was busted, and I go take a look at it, and they had hacksawed off the actual shower piece, the shower head, and attached a 4-foot long anal probe hose to it, with multiple settings on the other end. And that was as disgusting as you can imagine. After all of the drama and mental scarring that we put up with for this orgy buyout group, probably between about 30 staff, I want to say we made $20 in tips. I found myself on more than one occasion getting stuck in awkward situations between husbands, their lovers, and then the actual wife. The worst case scenario was husband and wife shared credit cards naturally, and she started seeing the hotel show up on the books, and she stormed in, like slammed bank statements down. It's like, I know my husband's here, you guys are lying to me, we have to just say, you know what, I'm so sorry, we don't have anyone here by his name. And meanwhile, we could literally hear them having sex upstairs. Apparently she didn't notice the sounds were familiar to her, which might be a sad statement on their marriage, actually. The problem with working with the fabulously wealthy is that they often assume that the staff is there at their beck and call regardless of what the request is. It was really common for the high rollers to approach attractive staff members and essentially just ask them, hey, if I pay you X amount of dollars, will you meet me in my room late at night and knock my brains out? That's a quote from someone, sadly. We had a very busty, gorgeous front desk woman at one hotel, and someone came down and offered her quite a bit of money in front of management. And at the moment, she naturally declined. I have security cameras in all the halls, and seeing that person sneak out around 2 a.m. was definitely a little suspicious. The most shocking example was an incident where the wedding was around 2 p.m.-ish that day. Come nightfall, one of our event staff slept with the wife and ended up getting caught. It turned into quite a big deal with screaming and shouting and all this stuff. He hid in a bathroom in a supply closet until the heat died down, and then he just walked into the front office and clocked out like nothing ever happened. His mom happened to be in charge of events, so she made sure he didn't get terminated. The demographics of the staffs who work at hotels are usually pretty evenly split. If you're an attractive white person who speaks English quite well, you're probably going to be reservations, front desk, something.
Did you see what he said? If you are an attractive white person, you work at the front desk. If you are an attractive white person, you work at the front desk.
An attractive white person who speaks English quite well, you're probably going to be reservations, front desk, something visual. If you're not of that ethnicity, just because they have an accent and that might not present well to your guests, your most likely bet is that you're going to get placed in housekeeping.
You're most likely to be housekeeping if you're not white.
If you're working at a decent property, you could probably get $10 to $15 an hour.
And then a desk host gets $10 to $15.
As a front desk host, if you're housekeeping,
if you're housekeeping, $9 to $10. So automatically, if you're not white, you get paid less as well. It's in the US.
9 to 10. It was wildly unfair. We were actually advised to handle our housekeeping teams under the concept of divide and conquer.
And they used to do divide and conquer with their housekeeping teams.
Telling them, oh, well, so-and-so's team is much better than yours. You should really try to keep up with the Mexican team. It creates that toxic environment. This prevented the entire housekeeping team from uniting together and presenting concerns. And I saw that kind of model in multiple hotels. In retrospect, I can safely say that the hours they made me work, the wild situations you run into, it's a miracle that I never got in a really bad car accident commuting. It slowly burns you out in a way that you can't explain until you are out of it. You just kind of know something's wrong and you're not happy. The biggest thing that the public doesn't understand about the hotel industry is that there are wild things happening behind closed doors every single day. Fabulously wealthy individuals are wild. Everything happens behind closed doors at hotels.
What did he say? He said, fabulously wealthy individuals are wild. Everything happens behind closed doors of hotels. I feel like in a way, low-key, high-key, this guy corroborates what we can see in the Epstein files is that rich individuals can do whatever the fuck they want to do and simply get away with it. You know? That's what I got from this it makes them feel entitled. It gives them power. It makes them realize that they can do whatever they want to do. You heard what Epstein said to that girl? This is my town. I can make you disappear. And the thing is, unfortunately, he's right. Because he has made a lot of girls disappear and got away with it. You know? Anyways, thank you guys for the support. I think I'm going to go live tomorrow. I've been live for 4 hours. Thank you for all the gifts. Like, this takes a lot of emotional toll, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that, but looking through, like, it takes a lot of emotional and mental labor to even do this, to read through the files, to have to read through the atrocious things that I'm reading through. And at the same time, it also takes, like, it's like also labor, you know? Because you have to actively read through all the files. You have to go through all the files. You have to collect all the files after everything, right? So for that reason, I appreciate you guys very, very much. It would be much appreciated if you guys would support me, follow the live, like the live. You guys could also actively gift. Your gifts are much appreciated. If you guys do want to support me otherwise as well, there is a pay link in my bio. There's an active pay link in my bio. You can definitely support me there. Everything is appreciated. Even if it's just $1, that's also appreciated. At least it's something to show that there is support and compensation as well, in a way, because, Black people's labor is not for free, especially not during Black History Month. Just wanted to say that. Black people's labor is not for free. So, and I happily do this, by the way, not happily, sadly, of course, but I do this because I myself am a survivor, and I'm doing this actively because, thank you for the subscription, Shelby, by the way, I appreciate you. You can also subscribe, that's also a thing. I do this because I'm a survivor also, but also the fact that a survivor reached out to me, made me realize that I should do this. And I also got a lot of messages from people who did tell me that, they feel like they're happy that their stories are being heard, that they are survivors themselves and never told anybody. So for that particular reason, I do want to highlight survivors. And what I wanted to say is, if there is any survivor here, I believe you. Just wanted to say that. I believe you. You are heard. You are seen. You are valued. And you're not supposed to feel any shame at all. It was not your fault. It has never been your fault. You couldn't have done anything to prevent this from happening because you could not have known. Okay? You could have not have known. Don't ever feel guilt. And if anybody victim blames you, fuck them. Okay? They'll find their karma. Their karma will meet them. You're not alone. You're valued. Regardless of if you're a man or a woman, regardless, any survivors, you're not alone. Appreciate y'all very much. And I will see y'all tomorrow, as per usual, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Pacific, and 8 p.m. German time. I love y'all. Have a good day. I don't have Cash App, but I could get that arranged, by the way, boss lady. So if you could send me a message. Anybody who wants to send me Cash App, send me a message, and I can give y'all a Cash App. So, anyways, love y'all so much. See y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will try to go to through multiple people, by the way. Multiple people. Anyways, love y'all so much. Hi, Vengeful. Appreciate you that you're here. Thank you very much. Love y'all. See y'all tomorrow.
The girl on the phone for a second date update today is obviously really disappointed that she's not getting a call back because she got wined and dined on her first date. Oh. I'm talking like a tour of the world, basically. She got to go to Italy at this restaurant called Sparrow, and then maybe some American cuisine after at a place called Cinnabon, which I've heard a lot about. Yeah.
Is it a food court? Did she really eat at the mall?
Yes, she did. She ate at the mall on her first date, and now the dude is not calling her back. Her name's Jaylene. What's up, Jaylene?
Hey, guys.
Okay, wait.
Hey.
You don't sound 14, so I'm confused. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Okay, but your first date sounds amazing. I've heard of that Italian restaurant before.
Right.
I've never been able to pronounce the name, though, but I've heard it's great.
No, I work at the mall, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So who did you go out with, a customer or a coworker?
It was sort of a customer. He had walked in and, I was having a really bad day. And, of course, customer service is always wonderful when you're having a bad day. But I think you could tell that something was wrong, or I don't know.
Where do you work at the mall? I mean, you don't have to say what the business is, but what do you do?
Yeah. I work at a kiosk. So,
okay.
I meet different kinds of people.
Okay, yeah, that would be a frustrating job at the mall, especially the people that handle the lotions and stuff, because you people just turning you down all day long. Eventually, you probably want to throw a lotion bottle at their head. So, anyway, you were having a bad day, and this dude could tell?
Yeah, it just seemed like he could tell, and he trying to cheer me up. So we got to talking there for a bit, and then I had to get back to work. So he said, do you have a break coming up? And I said, yeah, in about like 30 minutes, I'll have my lunch break. So he said, all right, that's great. I have some shopping to do. Why don't we meet at the food court? So
That's cute.
yeah,
Were you excited?
I was. I mean, everybody usually ignores me. So the fact that this guy, this attractive guy, is talking to me and just cheering me up, I thought it was really sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how was the food court? Everything that you had hoped for and more?
Well, of course. so I walk, down to the food court, and he's already gotten a table for us. He's already ordered lunch for us. He ordered kung pao chicken.
Well, because you probably don't have a very long break. He needs to get that going.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, but he's got to know that, I don't have that much time. So he had everything ready.
Like, trust me, I know the owner at the Panda Express. I got an extra orange on the orange chicken today.
Hey, dude, I may date somebody based on that knowledge alone, Jubal. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so it was really sweet and nice. And then after, he's like, so do you want to split a churro with me? It's like, sure. I really have to get back to work. But anyways, we exchanged numbers, and we were talking back and forth like the next 4 or 5 days. And we weren't just texting. We were like talking on the phone and having great conversations.
Really?
Yeah, nothing weird, nothing.
Like, he didn't just send you a picture of his churro off the top, like normal text conversation.
Right. There was nothing perverted or like super sexual or anything like that. It was just a great conversation and just getting to know the other person. But like, I don't know, we had a lot in common. And
And I bet when you saw his name pop up on your phone, but that felt awesome.
yeah, it did until he stopped responding to me. And then I was like, what did I do wrong? How?
Yeah. Way to rub it in, Brooke.
Oh, that's not what I meant. I mean,
It was
before you
probably
never saw it
so
again.
amazing whenever he would contact you, but now he's not contacting you at all, so that's gotta hurt.
I think that there's got to be a reasonable explanation. Or I want there to be anyway.
Yeah.
A reasonable explanation for making me feel bad? I don't know.
I didn't mean to make you feel bad.
Well, all right. Well, how long has it been since he's talked to you?
It's been about a week.
It's been about a week. Okay.
That's a
All
lot
right, well,
if you guys were talking daily, too.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, it was like fast and furious. We would talk like all day long for like a week. And then just nothing.
okay. Well, we'll play a song, come back, and call him and get your second date update, okay?
Well, I really hope you can reach him because I can't. So
We will find this guy. If I have to go to every Wetzel's Pretzel, I will find this dude for you. Okay?
thank you.
We'll do it right after this. Hang on.
Moving 92.5. Brooke and Jubal in the mornings. Second date update.
If you're just tuning in for today's second date update, Jaylene is on the phone and she met a dude named Justin at the mall. She works there at a kiosk and apparently they struck up a conversation and then shared a romantic lunch at the food court. And then after that, they've texted back and forth for like 5 days, every single minute of the day, she says. And she was surprised when he just kind of dropped off the face of the earth and stopped talking to her.
Yeah.
And personally, I was surprised to learn that people still go to the mall. So that's cool.
Jaylene, I'm sure you've gone through like 8,000 different scenarios of what could be going on because you said you even had actual phone conversations with this person.
Right.
What do you think it is? You haven't given us your theory.
I don't know. I've been racking my brain about this. Like, he's married or something? I mean, I don't know.
That's where I went too.
Really?
That's where I went in my head. You're in a relationship.
Maybe.
Seen a ring.
No, because she hasn't seen his house. She hasn't seen his car. Like, she's seen no proof of his personal life.
But he didn't try and hook up with me, so I don't get it. I mean, it's not like we, hooked up the first night we met and then that's all he wanted. I don't know why you would talk to me every day for a week and then just...
Maybe he's a time traveler.
What?
God.
Why would you
Because-
come to that conclusion?
I think he's from 1992 because you met at the mall and he actually called you on the phone. And that's the last time I think those things have ever happened.
I mean, at this point, I guess anything's possible.
All right, well, I'll dial his phone number right now and see if we can figure out why he just stopped talking to you. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi, can I speak to Justin, please?
Yeah, you got him.
Hey, Justin, how are you, man? This is Jubal from Brooke and Jubal in the Morning.
Who? Who is it?
Jubal from Brooke and Jubal in the Morning.
What's that?
It's a radio show.
All right, so he listens.
What? Who are those people? Is there like a lot of you over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 of us. right now.
Okay.
Hi.
Why are you guys calling me? What can I do for you?
Well, I wanted to see if I could grab a few minutes of your time because we got an email from someone who listens to our show, and they wanted us to call you on their behalf.
Okay. What? It's weird, man. What's going on?
It is weird.
It is. It's a girl that you met at the mall, and you guys had lunch at the food court. You guys talked for a little while, about a week, and then you just kind of stopped talking to her. Her name's Jaylene.
Oh, yeah, Jaylene, yeah. Yeah, I know her.
Okay. Well, Jaylene emailed us and wanted to see if we could get you on the phone and find out why you stopped talking to her.
Oh, man, we're good. We're fine. We did, we got what we wanted, or got what I wanted, and we're good.
Wait, hold on, though. What did you want? I think that maybe that's the confusing part for all of us when you say that.
Well, I mean, it's, end of transaction. It's just,
You got what? Okay. Normally, when I ask a girl to lunch or dinner or something else, there's something that I want out of it that I don't think you want. Like, what did you? What were you? What transaction are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I don't want to tell you guys because if I say anything, then everybody's gonna know what I'm doing, and like not everybody could think of this, so kind of want to keep to myself for a while, maybe.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying?
So wait, you think that you have some genius plan that you don't want leaked out? Is that why you don't want to tell us?
I got a genius plan that I don't want leaked out that nobody else thought of yet. So yeah, no.
That involves Kung Pao chicken in a mall food court?
Well, I mean, sometimes it's Kung Pao, sometimes it's churros. I think we did a Mongolian grill one time. I mean, I was like,
Wait.
What? Okay, so this is something that you do.
yeah, man, it's just kind of my thing. It's what I do. You know?
You use women for dates at the food court? But you paid, right? Who paid?
So I paid, man. It's all part of it.
So what the?
What's part of it? I thought you had, I mean, from what Jaylene told us, you guys had a nice connection. You had good conversation on the phone. And you had a quick date in the mall food court that ended in a churro.
Yeah, that's all correct. That's how it went down. Can you think of a better plan?
Well, you keep sounding so sleazy about it. Like, hey, I got what I wanted. But I still don't see what you wanted out of it.
Do you just not like to eat alone at the food court? Like you feel bad about that or something?
All right, here's the deal. You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Yes, very.
All right, I only date girls from cell phone providers because that way you can get all those discounts and those special deals.
What?
What?
Like for cell phones, man. I mean, I only date girls from mall kiosks, man.